The Yellow Brick Road. This video does not reflect the actual views of real people. These are actors playing a role to entertain audiences. No persons or animals were harmed in the making of this video. Gosh, I love YouTube and I love Google.
Welcome to Yellow Brick Road. I'm Jordan, this is James, and today we're going to be talking about Godless Engineer's response to Jordan Peterson. So this is a reaction to a reaction, but it's not really a reaction because I watched this before. I think I've seen both of these. I watched the Godless Engineer's video and Jordan Peterson's video, and I'm sure he watched it too. So
You're just fake.
It's a review of a review. We call that
Being fake.
mooching, gold digging.
You're fake.
What are those birds called? Vulturing?
Fake birds.
Black vultures speak politically incorrectly. Alright, so this is going to sort of be like a...
Why?
What? He's happy, he's whistling.
No, he's not. That's like, ooh, hello. Hello there.
So this is going to...
Like...
This is partially going to be a translation for Godless Engineer. I'll get into that later. And also just our points of view, if we disagree with Peterson.
Or the wall.
Here we go. Name of the video is, Does Jordan Peterson Think Jesus Christ Resurrected? Hashtag TBT. I don't know what that is, but... Right.
Is his resurrection real? Well, his spirit lives on. That's certainly the case. Well, let's imagine that a spirit is a pattern of being. And we know that patterns can exist, patterns can be transmitted across multiple substrates, right? Vinyl, electronic impulses, air, vibrations in your ear, neurological patterns, dance. It's all the translation of what you might describe as a spirit. Right, it's that pattern.
We should definitely try to dance these spirits out.
Oh, he's just being silly.
One or two individuals who managed that, and that in their management of that, they transcended death itself.
How do you transcend death itself?
Well, then you...
Well, I don't think he's speaking literal death, as in biological death. I mean, there's something called a philosopher's death, where one idea passes away and another one comes about, which you could call a resurrection. Just, try to help him translate the symbolism he's speaking of. I don't think he's being so direct and scientific.
I don't think he has to.
I don't think so either. I thought it was just obvious what he's talking about.
When I heard him, I thought it was...
Oh, he's speaking
symbolically.
symbolically.
Death?
Yeah.
Man. It's like you can't kill an idea.
No, there's only one death.
Huh?
There's only one kind of death. It's when you stop inhaling and exhaling.
Now I'm sure, but you should be a lawyer. Go ahead, do it.
might ask yourself, well, what do you mean by transcendent death?
God damn it! Yes, what do you mean by transcendent death?
Well, in the case of Christ, let's assume he was a historical figure for the time being, which I think is the simplest thing to assume.
Well, it is the simplest thing to assume, but it is just simple for me to assume there's a big dick elephant that's flying around the sky that's threatening to piss like hellfire on us. So, it's simple for me to just accept that.
I think Peterson says that because he's trying to get to a deeper point, a deeper argument. I don't think he's caring so much about the historical figure, the physical person.
It's more of the idea.
You might be leaning towards something else, but I could be wrong about that.
What you fail to understand is there is an elephant flying out there.
Or in there.
That's pause-worthy.
It's a little bit harder for me to fucking prove it, don't you think?
I think there's sufficient evidence to conclude that. Is his resurrection real? Well, his spirit lives on. That's certainly the case.
Well, I mean, he still hasn't answered the question. I do appreciate him stopping to think instead of filling it with, like, just word salad for the whole 2 seconds right there. But his spirit, I don't know what you mean by his spirit.
In what sense do you mean spirit, just to qualify that?
Fucking God came out of nowhere to ask that one. Thank you, God. Thanks.
Oh, let's imagine that a spirit is a pattern of being, and we know that patterns can exist. Patterns can be transmitted across multiple substrates, right? Vinyl, electronic impulses, air, vibrations in your ear, neurological patterns, dance. It's all the translation of what you might...
So let me get this straight. Spirits are sound waves. Spirits are recorded on vinyl. Spirits are dance. Like, seriously, you're diluting the word spirit down to mean any fucking thing at all. Like, right now, it's spirits exist on vinyl records, which when the vinyl record plays, it vibrates the air around you, and that itself is a spirit, because all spirits are patterns. So we're going to abstract the fuck out of what I'm talking about so that I can literally mean anything ever.
That's not. I didn't get that at all.
I sort of got that in the sense of Peterson tries too hard to make metaphysical ideas into physical ideas, right? He's like, you only see God over a long period of time, right? If you only have a small sample size, you won't really see God. You need a
From what he just
long
said right there,
physical timeline of physical events to
I didn't
see
get
God.
that from what he said. Just a poor explanation.
Well, I'm just going back on what he said before, which might explain what he means
I'm
by
saying
that.
from that alone, he probably didn't hear it.
Let me explain what I would say to that. I would define spirit as the thing, this is going to get woo-woo, the thing that moves things. Now, I don't mean literally or physically, like me picking up a TV remote and moving it, although that's a part of it, but the will to move the thing. Does that make sense?
Sure he does. You should be asking him that.
It's will, I would say, because these things are much easier to describe than to define. So when I say movement, I mean something as in, like, think of like changing your mind, right? The force of changing your mind, you can consider spirit. Or the force of why did I stub my toe? Like, what are all the events that led to me stubbing my toe on the table? That thing that's moving you in a certain direction to where I stub my toe. And that's a whole bunch of things. That's physical and non-physical. It's your mental makeup, as in...
you gotta do better than that.
As in, I really like sandwiches, so I went to the kitchen to make a sandwich, and I stubbed my toe on the way. Something moved, like your you-ness moves you there. It's very woo-woo. But yeah.
You gotta do better than that.
I think Peterson might have been leaning towards physicality too. But I think it's more than just physical.
I'm just taking it as a poor explanation.
Describe as a spirit, right? It's that pattern. It's independent of its material substrate. Well,
Spirit, as far as we know, as far as the supernatural version of spirit goes, it's not independent of substrate or whatever the fuck, of the material that it's in. It's a supernatural thing. It's like how we actually define spirit in normal fucking conversations is that it's like this supernatural version of yourself that encapsulates your characteristics. But
I think, like, nah, I disagree. If you're looking at it in a philosophical, metaphysical way, you don't define spirit as like ghost bodies.
Well, he's going the fundamentalist.
It's your ghost body. When you die, yeah.
Like my soul. It's like this glowing orb that comes out of my chest and shit.
Yeah.
Like wow, wow, wow.
Or spirit body, like.
Yeah.
Like, oh, the old lady that lived in that mansion.
Yeah.
She haunts it to this day. Her spirit is there.
Yeah.
It's like, I wouldn't lean. I don't think that's where Peterson was going, and That's definitely where I'm
lack
like
of understanding what spirit is.
Yeah.
I don't like. You're gonna go the cartoon route.
Yeah.
That's where he went.
I would, if I used a metaphor, I'd say the soul is like the sun, and the spirit is like the sunlight. It's like the thing moving, while the soul just sits still. Once again, very woo-woo, but come at me, bro. I dare you.
I guess you could say is a pattern. I guess you could say you could write that on a fucking vinyl or a CD or a cassette tape, what the fuck ever. I guess you could do that. But at the same time, that's not the conversation we're having. We're not talking about some shitty Johnny Depp movie. What we're talking about is fucking ghosts, spirit, visions of ghosts. That's what we're talking about, Jordan. Just stay on topic as to what we're actually talking about instead of transforming it into something that you can maneuver into any conversation. Well,
So-
I even think that's like intentional maneuvering it into some sort of conversation. If it's,
Yeah, I don't
if
think
it's
so.
metaphysical ideas and someone doesn't understand it, like this guy clearly doesn't. As soon as I hear ghosts and goblins and ghouls, it's like, okay, dude,
Yeah.
you might want to take off your hat for this.
If he meant, or if everyone means ghosts when they say spirit, then why would it be the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit? Right? Why would it be that? Or even if they say Holy Ghost, do they mean an actual ghoul-like creature walking around?
No.
So even in the biblical context, I don't even think they use spirit that way.
I don't think it was meant to be used that way.
Maybe, because the Bible can be pretty contradictory, so I wouldn't be surprised if
I remember someone translated it.
I wouldn't be surprised if in one passage they mean like an actual ghost, and in another passage they mean like the attraction, the forces that
I
are
look
moving
at
things
I
around.
look at it as pure poetry.
Yeah.
the metaphysical substrate that we're working with here is the air, so therefore your electronic devices
Metaphysical
fuck. We should definitely try to dance these
Ironic.
spirits out.
He's mimicking that.
I am the dancing atheist.
Christ's spirit lives on. It's had a massive effect across time.
No, Christ's spirit hasn't lived on. Like, the whole idea of Christ has lived on through help of, like, the Roman government and everything like that, and through many people adopting it. Christianity has lived on, and that's where the whole idea of Christ came from. The spirit of Jesus has not affected anybody because his spirit doesn't exist. We have no evidence, no scientific evidence whatsoever to say that spirits exist, let alone Jesus.
Well,
It's
Well-
sad when you see someone like on one side of the argument. Like they could be extremely knowledgeable, and then on the other side, so like lackluster and poor.
Well, it seems like someone trying to be atheist. Like it's like they're trying to do it.
Maybe.
But maybe Peterson's getting a little tricky here. I don't know if he's doing this exactly, but I think there's a difference between Jesus and Christ. Those are two different things. As in, Christ is like a title of like whatever type of achievement.
Well-
Probably wholeness, full self achievement,
I'm
understanding.
sure there's
that.
a translation of what Christ means.
And then Jesus,
So,
yeah. And
like
then
the
Jesus,
Christ.
yeah. And then Jesus is supposed to be the man that does that work to obtain that title. Right.
Like a Messiah, a prophet, etc., etc.
Yeah.
It's extremely poetic, you know. Metaphor is like just all everywhere, but someone like this probably couldn't understand that.
Yeah.
How that, it transcends death. It's an
Yeah.
idea. Nope. Ghosts and spirits.
So, in our definition of what a Christ might mean, then yes, that spirit does exist. It's the self calling to you, like, come back here. Come on.
No, I'm not gonna disagree that the Roman government didn't have something to do with reissuing some sort of like a belief system.
Well, here's the thing: the
To
words.
have some sort of control over it.
Oh,
People.
for sure. And they can play with words and mix them around and shit
Sure.
like that. But certain ideas just stand out as highly sophisticated.
Someone like with your beliefs would have gotten stoned to death. 'Cause, you know.
Actually, I would have lived back.
No,
Nah,
you're dead.
I would have died.
You're pigment, and
But my idea is, I could pretend.
Nah, you can't pretend. It's pretty blatant that you're sus.
Not talking about that.
Is that an answer to the
Just trying to
question?
protect you.
Did his body resurrect? I don't know.
All right, stop. This is cringy.
That's a healthy answer, right? I don't know.
Yeah,
Actually, I think
I respect that.
I actually think he gives a better answer. But the I don't know part is okay too. Right? He's gonna say that you probably, it's like, oh, probably not. Like, oh, that's an acceptable answer too, but just have to understand that those are the same thing. I don't know and probably not are the same thing. Now, when you play with language, one's a little more detailed than the other, but probably not means I don't know, but I think this. When I say I think this, just means I don't know.
It means I believe.
It just keeps cycling through itself. Of, I don't
At the
know.
same time, it's like, I don't want to. I respect that. When someone says, "Oh, I don't know," but maybe, whatever. Then there's the like, we know already. It's like you're showing me that you don't know, like,
Yeah.
at an alarming rate.
Yeah. When it comes to truth, we straight up don't know, but when it comes to, in this scenario,
Oh,
but when it comes to
actually.
whether or not someone personally knows,
Hmm.
that's when you can have sort of degrees of things, which is why probably not qualifies as a different answer than I don't know. But essentially, they're the same thing, I think.
I'm fine with people saying that they don't know if a person's body resurrected from the dead after being crucified, played as a pincushion, and then thrown in a cave for 3 days. I get people saying, I don't know, but at the same time, rationally, you should conclude that he
like a
probably didn't. Like, even if Jesus existed, there's no way he would have survived that. Also, the accounts afterward are not acceptable. They're totally biased. There's no independent accounts, and it just goes against all physics, biology, and everything.
It is.
Man-made things.
It all depends if it's, well, obviously the context is the physical death and resurrection of Christ.
Sure.
But
At the same
I can
time-
easily read those as metaphors, easily.
I straight up look at them as metaphors.
The entire Jesus story I can read as a metaphor.
Exactly.
Also, who's to say it didn't mean like he died, but resurrected in a different, like, we can't see him anymore, but he resurrected. We know this because he achieved this in this
All it
lifetime.
takes is someone to just fuck with the words. But even if you didn't,
Yeah.
would he still take it like, or people are like, guys, like, he rose from the dead physically? Yes. It's like that's ridiculous. It's like, would people still do that? Probably, yeah.
Yeah.
And it's a little weird if we're talking about bias here, because it's like, are we trying to be the atheist? And if that's not bias, I don't know what is,
Yeah, that's,
because now we're saying it didn't happen. It's like, were you there?
yeah.
I wasn't. I'm saying what it sounds like.
My opinion is that is, I would consider existentially dangerous, of harming yourself. Like, that's in caution of harming yourself, just as bad as, I don't know anything, God tells me. Like, those are similar dangers to me.
It's like separating God from the self, huh? Mm-hmm. You deserve to be led right now. Yes. Like, lead him to the cliff. Do it.
Alright.
The accounts aren't clear, for one thing. What the accounts mean isn't clear. I don't know what happens to a person if they bring themselves completely into alignment. I've had intimations of what that might mean.
Into alignment with what? I guess the Logos, but what does that even fucking mean at this point? God.
That the Logos is the word. Right? I don't know if I'm right about that.
I don't know. I do like his hat.
But if it is the word, I would say it's the content. Completely in line with the internal content, with the stuff that doesn't have content. They align with each other.
It's just,
Now, could someone physically be whatever because of that? I don't know. There's guys like Bruce Lipton who think your psyche affects your physical body quite a bit.
I would agree.
Now, if you reach whatever Jesus Christ standards, then maybe he got somewhere to where he could actually regenerate or whatever the fuck. I'm not saying that personally. I don't actually believe that. I don't believe that at all. I think,
I do. I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't fucking know.
I'm just saying that so I don't get killed for it. I don't get crucified for it.
I mean, you already been killed, dude.
No one's gonna literally crucify you. Yeah, I meant to, like, figuratively.
Nah, both. You're fucked.
Fuck.
God's asshole? Are we bringing it into alignment so we can shove our heads up his ass and totally be brown nosers? Yeah, that's it. I got the thumbs up from KC. That's what he's talking about. He's imagined what it would like to be aligned with God's asshole. Look it up. I'm prepared to enter, God. Let me get a big sniff of that colon. Oh, it smells holy. It's goats and God. It'd have to be fucking goats and God to fit everybody up there.
We don't have...
Oh, again, you'd have to define God as some man in the sky somewhere for that logic to make sense. What Godless engineer just said.
Mm.
And I don't know. And I don't know if Peterson means that.
That's his name.
That's his YouTube name.
That makes sense.
Right.
understand the world very well.
I mean, he's not... The God smells whole up there.
We don't understand the world very well.
I mean, he's not wrong, but at the same time, we definitely know fuckers can't rise from the dead, okay? You saying that...
We don't know that.
Yeah, you don't know that.
Oh, we don't know the world so well. It's just a cop-out for you to be like, well, I guess he could have risen from the dead. I mean, we do have all these fucking books, right? It's...
I actually agree with that. Words means on paper. I don't know what he means by it. But yeah. It's like, just hearing him talk, it's like, yeah. I guess mass majority of people don't know. Don't know the world that well. And if they did, it would be like this. I would never hear, well, James, that's just the world we live in such a like defeatist tone. It's like, ugh. What the fuck happened to you, dude?
They were black-pilled. That's what happened.
Stop it. That's like a date rape thing. It's like, hey.
They were black-pilled.
It's like a little black pill just dissolves in your like Hawaiian punch. You're like, oh.
Like, how many times can we rob the Matrix movie?
The simplest answer, that he rose from the dead. So, boom, I guess he rose from the dead. Am I right, guys? Of course, the interviewer right now is like jacking off.
That wasn't fair. That wasn't Peterson's argument. That's not what I heard.
No.
But whatever.
Now we're making assumptions.
Furiously like, please answer more. I'm transcending, Jordan. Keep going.
We don't understand how the world could be mastered if it was mastered completely. We don't know how an individual might be able to manage that.
With one ring to rule them all. That's how you master the world, with that one fucking ring. The precious. Oh, the precious.
Right.
We don't know.
I guess we didn't see the symbolism in the Lord of the Rings movie, now did we?
No.
Guess not. It's just a bunch of war and swords and what are they called?
Swords?
Hobbits.
Yes.
And dwarves, that's all it was.
Yes.
Guess the ring didn't represent anything. Yeah. Guess it wasn't apparent.
But
that's why some things should be like not so in your face, you know?
No, they can't be. That's why they're always in metaphor, I think. My opinion. But
some of them are right there. Like right, it's like a girl. It's like, look, dude, she likes you. She's holding up a sign that says, "Go out with me." Dude, I can't read, and I won't read. Just walks away.
Well, Godless engineer, if you're claiming to not know these things, why don't you pursue them? And I mean, really pursue them. Don't just, because I believe he's ex-Christian. So why run?
Nope.
I don't mean run back to the Bible. I mean, open everything up. Let all doors be open, and only stop for the truth. Not what you think is the truth, not what you believe is the truth, but the truth itself. If you can even find that thing. Otherwise, your argument is dishonest.
I can tell you the hat is.
Or it comes off as dishonest.
That hat's not dishonest at all. Now what they need to do is to get that logo in the middle, and it'd be complete.
What?
Look, see it?
Yeah.
That's What's it called?
It's a hammer and sickle.
No, it's not. What is it?
It's working for the Reds.
No. What is it? It's Bigfoot. It's
Bigfoot?
Bigfoot. See? They're walking like this.
No.
That's Bigfoot. Keep playing. It's Bigfoot. It has to be Bigfoot.
That looks like a fucking like flamingo from
Nah,
me.
bro.
A black flamingo.
That has to be Bigfoot.
What transformations that might make possible.
Wait till he does
Okay,
the
so
close.
I guess basically, I think what he's saying there at the end is if Jesus did exist,
I missed what he said.
the precious.
We don't know what transformations that might make possible.
Okay, so I guess basically, I think what he's saying there at the end is if Jesus did exist and he perfectly aligned with God's asshole or whatever the fuck he's talking about, perfectly aligned with the Logos, he perfectly aligned with it and he rose from the dead, I guess him perfectly aligning with it and dying allowed him to rise from the dead? Like, this goes against everything that we know in, like, nature and all that kind of shit. I don't know what he means. If you have an inclination as to what he could fucking mean in this, I would love to hear it.
It's like hold on. Well, yeah.
There it is.
It's like honestly, it's like it's like a personal disservice not to really actually look at
Yes.
the existential side of it all.
Yeah.
Then it's like then it's one thing to make fun of someone.
Yeah. It's like look through whatever amount of information you feel you need to. Just bring yourself with you, right? Don't just accept answers from whoever because
Numbers.
yes.
Look,
Don't rely purely on your ego, which will require psychological studying. So you're not just, oh, the ego is the only thing. That's all who I am. Is just the ego. If you study the psychology, you can't just stop there. But continue.
But as it stands right now, I don't know where he stands on the question of do you believe in God? He says that he acts like he believes in God, but that doesn't actually answer the question.
I think we did a video. I did a video on him trying to define God. I don't know if he spoke on whether he believes it or not.
I don't really remember.
I think there's a debate with Matt Dillahunty to where he's saying people believe in God without saying they believe in God. Like they believe in it regardless. They just put it in different words. But I don't know, you'd have to go watch that one.
He says that, oh, I'll leave it up to you as to whether or not I believe in it. No, motherfucker. I asked you a question. Don't tell me to tell you what you believe. Just tell me yes or no. Or
I think he says that because of the translation thing, right? You might not be speaking the same language, so he's like,
Or at the
okay,
moment,
okay, you define God for me, so I can tell you, oh no, that's not what I believe, because what I'm trying to say might be complicated, or not the usual terms of words that we're used to using.
yeah, before I was stabbed in the heart.
That's it.
Yes, lawyer.
say, I don't know, and be like an agnostic of some sort. I mean, honestly,
It's like you have to be this or that, then I'll be happy. Either you're agnostic, you're a fundamentalist, or you're an atheist. Just tell me.
Yes.
It's like that's not how it works, dude.
No. Life's a mess.
I don't see the appeal of saying, well, I don't know if I believe in a God, and being an agnostic that way. I don't see the appeal to it because it's like, well, if you don't actively believe in a God right now, then you would be atheistic on the question of does God exist? And so to me, it's just a logical, like binary, like a logical dichotomy there. You either believe or you don't. If you don't know, then you definitely don't believe it. So I don't know. That's just me. I'm not here to shit on you.
Not unless the believing is it's still an I don't know. It's just a degree of I don't know. on the spectrum of I don't know-ness.
Well, then that goes back to
Wouldn't believe in
then that goes
probably.
back to what Peterson said regarding I would say people, everybody does. It's just it's something. It's an underlying feeling, which itself transcends. What I just said will probably just go over a bunch of people's heads.
Yeah. And Peterson tries really hard to use like social scenarios or biological or physical scenarios. he's trying so hard to speak to those like type of minds, to where it's like, dude, this is a lost cause. You have to use metaphor. I think it's necessary to use metaphor.
It's tough to explain a metaphysical idea with literally like masculine. Like, see it down from me. See the numbers. It's like, that's not going to work here, dude.
Nah.
Numbers don't exist here.
And it just leads to the question, well, what is numbers? Right? When you're being more feminine or metaphorical.
Feminine?
When you're being more metaphorical, you actually come across as being more concrete, right? Mm-hmm. If I write the Batman character, like, oh, this is the character. There is no, it's my world, my universe, this is what Batman is, straight up. As opposed to, I don't know, you have a external real life Batman. Like, who is Batman? It's like there's this weird thing where you can't logically and intellectually narrow him down to one thing. Right? You know, just saying, well, fuck, he's Batman. Like, who is Batman? He's Batman. And, yeah.
God, his pigment is wrong. He can't be Batman.
On how you like to identify yourself and anything like that. I don't know what Jordan Peterson, but obviously he thinks Jesus existed and that he's one of these people that perfectly conformed to the Logos and got shoved up in God's anus and then shat back out so that...
I don't know if it's conformed to...
Now we're being silly.
So yeah, you should maybe go back and look at those. Try looking back at those things metaphorically and see what happens. Also look at since you're not whatever he was, Catholic or Christian or whatever.
He was?
I believe he was.
It's very interesting how a lot of these guys were excommunicated. Saw the light.
Yeah. Since you're not afraid of the heretical books, you can go back and look at the books that are considered non-canon.
Yeah, non-canon.
You can look at the Gospel of Thomas and Philip and Mary Magdalene and all those.
Why do you think they weren't included?
Or say, screw that and go watch fucking The Dark Knight or The Matrix or something. It's the same, similar stories going on here.
Yeah, there were no lawyers in there.
Yeah, or as Joe Rogan would say, stupid ancient books written thousands of years ago by dumb people and blah blah. It's like, these ideas are more sophisticated than what you're talking about.
They wrote that with feathers, okay? It's like, dude, stop it.
Where were their iPads? They were so smart. Where were they?
Dude, we got toys. We got better toys. Simple.
Plus fun. Fun didn't go away back then, right?
Fuck, I don't know, man.
Right. Fun carried
Fun's
on.
always there.
Fun carried on, so the mode of how you express the funness, that changes.
Are you having fun? Keep gardening. It's gonna get you.
You imagine like a basketball player. Look at all the super arenas and the glass backboards and super basketball court. It's like, this is the best time ever for basketball. And you look at the guy who like invented basketball. He's like, dude, this game, here's the rules, man. This is gonna be so fucking awesome. Look at this. I'm gonna set a basket up, I think like 10 feet or something like that. So it's like, if you break it down to its core, same things, similar things are going on.
He can rule on Earth with the One Ring.
I have you.
Alright, I guess that's it. Or is it? No. That's it.
Do you like The Simpsons, though?
Yeah, it's very Simpsons. Ben Brim and everything.
I'm ready.
Alright, thanks for watching. Please subscribe if you feel like. Please respond if you feel like. Comment, disagree, agree, whatever. And give this video what it deserves. A thumbs down.